your current power, you are not capable of destroying the demons. We will give you our powers. We are the clan of ogres that has been subverted by demons. Samanosuke, defeat and seal their souls. To your right hand. Destroy all the demons!
Released back in 2001 on the PlayStation 2, with a release in Russian and Asian territories on PC, and an updated version in 2002 for the Xbox, Onimusha Warlords was a brand new IP from Capcom. While brand new IPs are now considered a risky topic to a lot of game developers today, the Onimusha series eventually grew to become one of Capcom's biggest franchises, and a bug in the game was partially responsible in helping a man named Hideki Kamiya develop another game, which would go on to become one of Capcom's biggest franchises as well. But, is Onimusha still fun to play after 13 years? Let's find out on this journalistic review. Onimusha, if you haven't guessed by now, is an action-adventure game, borrowing a lot of elements from Resident Evil, notably the pre-rendered backgrounds with fixed camera angles, as well as puzzle solving. You play as the samurai Samanosuke Akechi, who is portrayed and voiced in Japanese by actor Takeshi Kaneshiro, as he fights the hordes of demons, or Genma as they're called in later installments, to rescue Princess Yuki. Aiding Samanosuke on his quest is the Kunoichi Kaede, who you play as at various points in the game. Also aiding Samanosuke is a mystical gauntlet gifted to him by the Clan of Ogres, or the Oni in later games, which allow him to capture the souls of the Genma, as well as wield elemental weapons that he'll collect on his journey. The story begins during the Battle of Okehazuna in 1560, where we are introduced to Samanosuke, our hero, as well as Oda Nobunaga, the villain. Nobunaga, who historically won the battle with a much smaller force, was in this game killed when an arrow pierces his neck. Later on, Samanosuke receives a letter from a worried Princess Yuki, who explains that maids and servants from her castle were disappearing, and that monsters were rumoured to be the culprits. Samanosuke and Kaede run to see Princess Yuki, and arrive only moments after she had been kidnapped. Samanosuke later learns that Nobunaga has been resurrected, and that Princess Yuki is to be used as a sacrifice in the Dark Ritual, so Nobunaga could become even more powerful with the blessing of the Genma King Fortinbras. So with that out of the way, we're going to cut to the chase with the good. The first thing I would like to point out with this game was its gameplay. There was a good mix of puzzle solving and action, and the elemental weapons picked up by Samanosuke, combined with his experience with said weapons, made me feel like I was a force to be reckoned with. However, the variety of Genma and situations that I had to deal with throughout the game also showed that no matter how powerful I wasn't invincible. The difficulty of the game, in my opinion, was well balanced, as I didn't feel that the game was too easy or too difficult at any stage. Another thing which I enjoyed were the sound effects and music. In combination with the pre-rendered backgrounds, it truly sets the survival horror theme of the game, as well as the haunting and unsafe feeling that you get while exploring a keep overrun with Genma. Over the course of the game, you may see some soldiers who are still alive trying to fend off the Genma. In most cases, you can rush to their aid, and upon saving them, they'll drop something to help you along the way, whether it's a herb to heal you or arrows and bullets, which will be a fine addition to the bow and matchlock you'll get later on in the game. The ability to play as Kaede in some parts was a nice addition. Although she's weaker, can't absorb souls, and doesn't have as much health as Samanosuke, she can go through doors that Samanosuke can't using her shinobi kit, as well as attack Genma from a distance using her kunai. While Samanosuke does get the bow and a matchlock later on in the game, he is required to stand still and aim before he shoots, whilst Kaede can throw her kunai without having to aim, giving her the freedom to quickly move away if an enemy gets too close. Kaede also has her own unique moveset which she uses against the Genma to make things a little easier. You can also pick up the Sacred Knife with her, which will make her attacks stronger, and her sections even easier. As I've explained earlier, the Genma I also thought were very well done. The ones present in this game all have different strategies and abilities that try to give them an edge over you. When you're able to go to the Dark Realm later on in the game, that's when your skills are really put to the test, as it's a gauntlet full of Genma, some which you normally wouldn't encounter until much later in the game. The Dark Realm was also an excellent place to farm souls in order to upgrade your weapons and orbs, or convert your herbs, arrows or bullets. If you manage to successfully reach the very bottom of it, you will also receive an item which is crucial to getting the most powerful sword in the game. However, the most powerful sword in the game doesn't save it from the bad. The major gripe I have with this game is its movement controls. I feel that they're absolutely atrocious. Why on earth would you make a game that requires you to use the D-pad to move your character? It feels clunky, and making your character turn left or right while they're standing still can be an absolute chore. Thankfully there is a button to turn around 180 degrees, so that helps, but still it baffles me as to why they don't use the analog sticks for movement. The DualShock 2 have two of them, make use of it. Also, I'd like to point out that for a villain, Nobunaga is a bit lacking in the game. Aside from being introduced to him at the start, he's barely in it. He does get mentioned throughout the game and a lot of emphasis is put into the Dark Ritual, but the man doesn't even show up for a majority of the game. Hell, even his subordinate, Kinoshita Tokichiro, is more relevant in the game. This guy ultimately becomes known historically as Toyotomi Hideyoshi, so I hope you remember that name. It does become very important in a later review. Nevertheless, Nobunaga does make an appearance eventually in the game, and I felt that this appearance was a bit weak given the circumstances behind it. But aside from those things, I can't really fault the game that much, so I guess from here we're going to move straight on to The Ugly, where I discuss graphics and visuals. The game looks very visually appealing. The FMV intro looks absolutely gorgeous, and the pre-rendered backgrounds are quite well detailed. Each of Samanosuke's weapons look and feel unique, and to be honest, I can't get enough of watching the Raizen's magical attack, or the Thunder Sword's magical attack, or the Shippu or the Wind Naginata's design, so I tend to use those two weapons very often. Although there are the odd clipping issues from time to time in the game, I feel that they don't detract from it and it's merely just a result of me nitpicking. The game overall, as well as its series, is one that I'm always willing to play again and again, so it's got replayability nailed. It looks good, it sounds good, and for the most part feels good. The story was a little bit on the short side as I was able to finish it in about 4 to 5 hours, but I enjoyed the ride that this game took me on. If you enjoyed playing Resident Evil 1 to 3, then I have a feeling that you'll enjoy this game as well as all the other games in its series. In all, I would give Onimusha Warlords a fluorite out of an Oni. This wraps up Onimusha Warlords. Stay tuned for the next journalistic review.